Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Zero to Empire podcast. My name is Sam, and I have Curt Carbaugh with the C2 Performance Training Systems in this episode today. So, what actually inspired you to start that business, and what is it?
Yeah, thanks, Sam. So I've been in the training business for 26 years. I'm a speed coach, strength coach. We train athletes all, from 8 years old to professional. And as a trainer, you're always playing with resistance, strength training, like non-traditional movements, like the squat, deadlift, lunge. We work more hips, hip flexion, hip extension, groin, abduction, in and out. But anyway, what really got me into this was my daughters were dancers growing up, and they were always hurt. They were always injured. And I went into the studios and watched them perform, and they're jumping and leaping and landing, and it's just like constant pounding of the body. And I went up to the coaches and said, what do you guys do besides just dance? Do you train at all? And she's like, no, we don't have time. So that led me to start some prototypes that go on your ankle, and the bands were different lengths, and I started just messing around with them, and I had teams come in, and as a owner of a facility that has hundreds of kids a day going through there, I was able to basically research and develop a product that I felt had merit. So I started training dance teams, and athletes were using them for strength training hips. And then a gentleman was in the facility one day, and he was watching me train these dancers, and he goes, Curt, you should really sell these things and manufacture them. And I have no idea how to do any of that. So he got me hooked up with some manufacturing and distribution, and I put a huge order in, and now I have C2 Performance for about 2.5, 3 years. I've been selling these products. They're bands. They hook to your ankle, shin, waist, wrist, and hand, and they're different colors, different lengths, and different tensions, and I'm able to manipulate your body and do functional strength training, I call it, rather than weight. We're not building mass, we're just getting muscles to fire. And that's kind of how it started. COVID was really the reason why I did it, because I had 3 months to play around with these things and think about what I want to do next. So that's how it started.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you found a solution, especially for your daughter. That's
Yeah.
awesome to hear. And so, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced in perfecting the bands from manufacturing to actually design improvements?
That's a good question. I was so blinded to what I was doing. For those of people that I know, Chinese manufacturing, you got to communicate on Skype at like 2 a.m. And they have this Chinese New Year, which I think starts today, to believe it or not. I had to get this order in, and the guy that was supposed to help me was Alaska bear hunting. So he was off the grid for like 2 weeks. So I'm by myself. I'm on the phone with these guys trying to order these bands and get them I had to get them on an airplane, because the time to get an order shipped on a plane is like a week, and on a boat it's like 2 months. So I spent like $7,000-8,000 more than I wanted to get these bands shipped here. So I learned that. I did that wrong. And after that, it was just, when you get the product in your hand and you can start manipulating and playing with it, you start making tweaks. Like, okay, I don't like the way this carabiner's on this ring. Let's change the size of the ring. Let's do this. Let's do that. So then you send the shipment back, or you take a video of what you're doing and you send it to these people, and then they just make the changes, and then they ship you new stuff. So that's the biggest thing I learned, is if I ever do this again, not to make those mistakes. And I've actually ordered a lot of product in since. I've ran out of certain things and reorder more. So
Yeah, that's good. I mean, flying definitely is pretty expensive compared to boats, so that makes sense. But
yeah.
glad you were able to learn that lesson. And yeah, just make sure that no one else out there makes the same mistake for sure.
Yeah,
And what kind
definitely
of
look up somebody, get some, search out people that have done this, and they'll tell you what to do, because I did it by myself, and that was not smart.
definitely key to have some mentors, definitely cut the learning curve as well as save you extra money.
Yeah.
So makes sense. So with competitors like Dick's Sporting Goods and offering similar products, how do you actually plan to differentiate your brand in the market?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I did, is I would go buy every band online, Amazon, Dick's, and there's bands that look just like mine, literally just like them. But what I change is the length, 2.5, 5, and 10 feet, and the video. You get a bunch of videos from me personally telling you what to do, and as a trainer, I'm giving you a program to follow. the bands that you buy at the store, they have a couple pictures. They might have a booklet of a guy or a girl doing like just the, presses and rows, but there's nothing out there that I have found that's sport specific. Speeds training, strength training, volleyball, baseball, golf. Like I have videos for every single sport and how to use resistance to increase your hitting velocity, your swing speed, your arm speed, your running speed, skating speed, and then obviously as an adult like you and me and myself, how to wake up in the morning and feel good and not feel like you got run over by a car. Because I found the secret to better health, and it's in your hips and your back. It's not your biceps and your quads. Those have nothing to do with it. It's all this core structure. It's your stability muscles that keep your body in alignment. It's the free weights really don't help, and that's my honest to God opinion. So
that is insightful, and it is important to keep your core and your lower backs strong. So that makes sense. So good foundation helps with everything.
Yeah.
And when it actually comes to the strategies you're using to get your bands into schools and sports teams, how are you doing that, and how are the coaches actually reacting?
Yeah. So C2 is an e-commerce business. Like it's going to eventually be, Amazon or something similar where you go online, you buy this kit, and it gets shipped to your house. And I do that right now, but I'm learning that, and I'm going to need partners for that down the road. So if somebody wants to Shark Tank this bad boy with me, I'm all ears. But I sell it locally, so I go to, I call the AD or the head coach, the football coach, and say, hey, I got this product. I got tons of videos online, so I can send them like professional YouTube video, or not even YouTube videos. Instagram is huge for me, Facebook, and I'm out on the field with these football players doing this, interacting, and they see it and they go, huh, okay, I want to see what that's all about. So then I'll go to the school and set them all up and go through the different parts. And then they say, okay, we really like the belt system. I like that a lot. We'll do that. And then let's do the, shin or ankle. So not everybody wants the upper body portion. But what market do you want to go into? That's the hard thing for me to scale this thing, because every sport's a market, adults are a market, physical therapy is a market, Taekwondo is a market. I mean, so I just kind of go bounce around, and I'm trying to connect with people that are special professionals in a sport or dance, competitive dancers or something, and then say, hey, let's go to business together and sell these bands. So that's kind of all I'm doing. Grassroots sales, call them and set up an appointment and go show it to them, and hopefully they buy it. So
that's a good idea, and that's a good approach for expanding 100%.
Yeah.
And so how do you go about integrating your YouTube channel, your booklets, and actually your training resources that we were talking about earlier into the sales pitch for your bands?
Yeah. So what I found, it's still, people still will watch a cool video of this, a tangible item like a band, and they are really reluctant to push buy. They are. I have not figured out why. I can swing a golf club in front of them on camera and say, I guarantee you'll swing this club harder and faster. But people, they just are standoffish on it. So my YouTube channel has about 170 some videos. A lot of them are private. So if I won't sell you, or I won't show you my workouts unless you buy the product. But a lot of the videos are like, marketing, explaining why. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it does. Here's how you hook it up. So you can send those links, as many as you want. And then in the booklet or in the kit, there's a book. You pull it out, and there's photos that have been professionally put in place in the order that you do the movements: ankle cuff, wrist cuff, and little descriptions. So, and in that booklet, there's a PDF and there's an Excel spreadsheet. So you have 3 ways to learn my movements: pictures, PDF, or an Excel spreadsheet, which is like a weight chart, or you can watch the YouTube video. So all this stuff gets sent to you when you order a kit. So it works. Is it perfect? No. I mean, as products become more professional and there's more money behind the marketing, they're probably going to say, let's redo all these videos with some hot model. Away we go, because everything is me. With some people like that, they say, Curt, it's kind of cool listening to you talk about your product, because I invented it. It's mine. I'm pretty passionate about it. So, but I definitely need partners to get it to go where I want it to go.
Yeah, it's cool to have the owner speak about the product compared to like big brands. You never see the like bigger brands doing that. So it's
Mhm.
kind of cool to do that. It's authentic for sure.
Yes, it is.
And so you mentioned that the bands are for dancers, athletes, and even people that want to use it at home.
Yeah.
Like, what other markets are you targeting?
Um, okay, so last Friday I got invited to go to a health and phy ed teacher um, symposium. It was from like 8 in the morning to 11:30, and I was one of 3 vendors. So I brought all my product. I set it up in this gym, and all the teachers and health teachers, there was high school down to middle school, would sign up for the demonstration. So the first group I had about 35 or 40 people, and I was able to hook every one of them up at the same time, whether it was belt to belt, waist to waist, or if people want to go watch my videos, I figured out a way to not attach it to the wall. I literally use a 5-inch ring. It's a perfectly round steel ring, and I can clip carabiners onto the ring. And then the stretch of the bands going away from each other elevates the ring. And then I had like two groups of 15 people hooked up to the wrist or ankle, standing in a circle. And I went through all these movements with them, and they're like, wow. And my thought would be that they would see the value of having resistance bands in maybe phy ed classes in junior, middle school to high school, and that they would want to buy the system and then use it because you're playing. What do you play? Badminton, you play floor hockey. I'm sure these coaches or teachers are looking for something else to do with kids. And since physical fitness is kind of being lost in our schools because of whatever reason, this might be an addition. But, again, to get into a school, man, that's a lot. You got to go through a lot of stuff. And, it was successful. I sold some sets to volleyball coaches. There was a soccer coach there that wanted them. So it wasn't a waste of my time. I'm learning as I do this too, like where to put my eggs. Should I put them all in this basket or do some here, some there? And it was a great experience. I enjoyed it. I met a lot of people. So
Networking is definitely helpful, and I'm glad that you were able to make some sales through the coaching, because then word of mouth and referrals and everything will just grow eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And so, where do you actually see your business in 5 years, and what's your ultimate vision for the C2?
Yeah, I really think I'm going to find the niche that's going to make the most money. And this is something that I've been working on. So we all have these bands are 5 feet long, and they're latex, and they stretch 25 feet. 25 feet. And the 10-footers stretch 45 feet. Now, I'm a homeowner. I have a boat. I have a 4-wheeler. I have a grill. I have a pellet grill. I have stuff outside that needs to be covered up. One 5-foot band stretches 25 feet. So I put my boat away with one 10-foot band and went all the way around the tarp, snapped it back at the beginning, and it tucked it down. All my stuff outside is one 5-footer on the bottom. I just moved my daughter to college. 3 5-foot bands basically tied down a whole trailer full of dressers, chairs. So I'm starting to think that a big bungee cord is a great market, because I walked in a Fleet Farm the other day, Dick's Sporting Goods, and every bungee cord is the same size. They're like this to 2-3 feet, and they stretch about 6 inches. So what you end up doing is you got to use I used 12 bungees to tie my boat down. Now this year I used 1. So think of that. That could be a huge market, man. The big bungee. But honestly, I don't know, man. I've sat down with so many people, and they go, "This thing's unbelievable. It's so vast. You can go to any market you want." So I think it's going to come to me. I'll keep trying until something hits. I don't know if sports is the answer. I don't know if weight rooms are the answer, because that's where all the competition is. So if I go into a market where there's no competition, that makes a lot more sense to me. And I don't have to be solely invested in sports. It could be anything. To be honest, the big bungee idea is way easier. You buy bungees, 10,000, and then you put them in a package and put them on a shelf and sell them. So I'm not sure what the answer is going to be, where I'm going to be in 5 years with this. But I know it's going to be something. I'm positive it's going to be pretty successful, but I don't know what market yet.
Yeah, I believe in you, and just gotta find the right market and then go all in and see how it
Yeah.
goes for
Yeah.
sure.
That's all you can do.
And yeah, exactly. So, what's your best advice that you have for someone starting their own business or just trying to take it to the next level?
I think not enough people have the cojones to do it. I mean, like, it's only money. We make it every day. You can borrow it from a bank and pay it back over time. But I think anybody who has an idea, don't be afraid to just go do it. And I've done it twice, like 3 times. So I own Acceleration. I bought that company in '04. And then in '06, I started a golf business called AGT. And it was actually golf, it was bands. We put bands on your hips and we would spin you and resist you to get you to do what I wanted to do. And that kind of goes back to your first question. When I was playing around with rubber bands with golf swings back in '06 to 2012, that was a big kind of it cemented an idea in my head that I kind of forgot about until I started messing around with these bands again. So yeah, I was running a golf business on top of the Acceleration business. It's because I had an idea and I had a partner who was a pro. And we said, let's do this. So we would have people come in. I would warm them up. I'd do stretching, and then they go get videotaped by him and go through swing sequences. And then all of a sudden we would do we were throwing medicine balls against a wall and doing all this sport specific stuff for golf. And it was very successful. I think I was making more money doing that at one point. And then my wife said, what are you doing, dude? We own this company. This is your side project. And she got me to focus on my real job, which was Acceleration. So, but yeah, don't be afraid, man. Life's too short. Go do it. If you got to borrow money, go borrow money. Who cares? Don't work for the
Yeah,
man of life. It gets old.
that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you took the risk and that now you actually have this brand and this company. And it's awesome to see your band's doing so well so far. And can't wait to see where it comes in the next few years.
Yeah.
And I hope to see it part of like some big teams. Just like that'd be kind of cool to see.
Yeah. Sports
Yeah.
teams are starting to kind of look at them. You know, the another market that I think is going to be huge is the Taekwondo, karate, kickboxing, because that is global. That's global. And this guy, he was on the Gambia Olympic team, uh, Master Allison On. If you ever see this, I'm giving you kudos. So he fought on, we were there, and he was using these dang things. I let him borrow them, and I didn't even know he was using them. And then I was watching the news one night, and I saw my bands on local television. I'm like, dude, what do you never call? He goes, oh, I'm sorry, I got busy. So I didn't even know he was using them. So I think about that. You got a guy who's on Olympic team for Gambia selling my bands online to the thousands of Taekwondo studios that could use something like this where you can punch and kick with bands on your ankles and wrists. I mean, or hips. That could be ginormous, but he's a busy dude. He's traveling, he's fighting, and it's hard to. So I have all these leads, Sam, and it's just nailing down the guys to help me get this idea out because I know I can't do it by myself, and I'm very willing to say that I need help to get this thing bigger. So
Yeah, that's good to be self-aware and be vulnerable to figure that all out. Because honestly, it's a very tricky business, especially competing with some of the biggest brands like Dick's Sporting Goods
yeah,
and like.
that's what everybody sees it as a band. Like they all say the same thing. It's like, can you get through the barrier? That's that marketing that I didn't learn in college. I'm learning it as I do it, but people need to be shown it like 8 to 10 times before they buy it or remember it or something. And then everybody throws up questions. So you show them these bands and they go, oh, we already have those. And the first thing I say is, well, what do you do with them? And they don't answer me. They don't know what to say. I go, they hang on the side of your treadmill probably. I go, how would you like to have a booklet and videos telling you what to do? And that these workouts are 10 to 12 minutes. That is it. And they don't include sweating. They don't include impact, jumping, changing your diet. I mean, I tell people to drink beer and eat Cheetos. I don't care. My goal is that you're going to feel better tomorrow when you do this stuff. So that's it. It comes with an explanation and instruction versus like a couple photos of some big bulky meathead doing a bench press above his head,
Yeah, I understand that. And I really appreciate your insight and being on the podcast today.
Yeah,
Where
thank
can
you.
people reach out to you and buy your bands?
Yeah, c2equipment.com. It's a Shopify store. I'm actually having a girl, Kayla. She's the one who built it. We're rearranging the whole thing, like showing people the 11 to 12 high schools that are using them in the cities, uh, the gymnastics studio, the dance studios, the dance teams, um, some orthopedics, Minnesota Fairview Health. I mean, and then over 250 homes have the bands. So I do have a pretty golf courses have them. I forgot to tell you that. So golf pros are using them. So yeah, it's slowly getting. I think people need to see that the success I've had. I mean, when I say success, I don't mean financial success. I mean I'm actually selling these things to people in all these different markets, and they all say the same thing. Like, Curt, these are brilliant. Way to think through it all. I'm like, thanks. So, but yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's great. And reach out to him, get to his bands. They would help you out. And to everyone watching or listening in, I'll see everyone in the next episode of Zero to Empire.
Thanks, guys.